Billy Napier taking over in Gainesville. This was his debut. What was the general vibe on Billy Napier after whatever you want to call this?
I think people are pretty high on Napier and pretty excited about Florida football. Now it's year one. Anthony Richardson is the guy. Emory Jones hasn't transferred yet, but announced his intention to transfer. It might be a graduation thing. He's waiting to graduate. There's interesting talent at running back. They lose Jacob Copeland to Maryland. Line is wait and see. Defense is wait and see, especially after losing some key transfers, especially at linebacker. There's talent on both sides of the ball, but in terms of game-breaking electric dudes, there's potential but not obvious answers. And so I think because at least the offense will be based around a high ceiling guy in Anthony Richardson, and with the optimism that comes with hiring a new head coach, and he brings in his guys from Louisiana. Patrick Toney's done a really good job with Louisiana defense these past couple years. They were a top 20-ish defense, I believe, these past couple years, or at least last year. That they're going to be in a good place. Looks like Montrell Johnson might be the strongest option out of the backfield. He comes in from Louisiana for Florida, replacing Dameon Pierce. And they've had a lot of dudes in Gainesville recently, and so those guys were a little bit more obvious, both in the offseason and in their potential, be it Kyle Pitts or Kadarius Toney, whoever, that with Florida starting over, there is that sense of, okay, we don't know exactly who it's going to be and how it's going to go, but we were so tired of the week in and week out drama of, and that was more defense than offense, of the Dan Mullen era, that we're just excited to see what a full-fledged Anthony Richardson team and offense can look like. So Florida's in that interesting place. They've had some interesting transfers, especially at running back, and they've lost some key guys, and Kaiir Elam just gets drafted in the first round at corner. I think they'll be all right. I think Florida fans will be relatively forgiving in year one, but in terms of the spring, it seems like, it's hope springs eternal.
I'm curious to see what kind of commentary we see around culture.
Sure.
Culture. It's the favorite topic of the new coach.
Yeah.
Always and forever. Getting guys to quote unquote buy in to the extent where it needs to be one of our fantasy things this year. I told you earlier. Yeah. But especially in a year where we've seen so much movement on the coaching front, culture is something that a lot of folks are going to talk about. And I think it's actually quite pertinent. For as much as I poke fun about it, culture at Florida was something that was lacking under Dan Mullen.
Yeah.
Whether it was in the recruiting game, whether it was just about getting guys to go out there and play hard. There were games last year where they took off.
Yeah.
They took off. They didn't care. We were calling them the 1-2-3 Cancun team of the week.
Yeah.
A couple times over. So one thing you know about Billy Napier, his teams at Louisiana did not have that problem. They were ballers. They played whistle to whistle. If he can instill any of that at Florida, and of course we can't really know that after a spring game.
Right.
But that is what I think I'm most interested in seeing come the fall. If he can instill any of that in this Gator squad, they'll be better for it.
Yeah, I think he will. And I think it's just going to take a minute, especially it seemed like there's a lot of enthusiasm around the program. There was something like 300 plus, I don't know if it's recruits or prospects, a ton of former players and coaches were back. Like there is more of an electricity around the program. We'll see how that actually manifests on the recruiting trail come December, in the early signing period anyway. But yeah, I'm hopeful and optimistic that Florida's trajectory is going to a good place. It's going to take a minute to actually figure out what you do and don't have and navigating the portal and all those types of things. But no, I think they're in a strong medium-term place.